CJI Suryakant speaks exclusively to CNN News 18, says his focus is not on collegium reform but pendency. Now, amid the suspension of the Indus Water Treaty, India has fast-tracked several major hydro projects on the Chenab River. The Union Environment Ministry's expert panel cleared the Dulhasti Stage 2 project in Jammu and Kashmir's Kishtwar, an extension of the operational Dulhasti 1, developed by NHPC Limited at an estimated cost of 3,277 crore rupees. The project will use the existing dam, reservoir and power intake of Dulhasti 1 while drawing water from the Marusada River via the Pakal-Dul project. The panel noted that while Chenab waters are shared with Pakistan, the Indus Water Treaty has been suspended since April 23, 2025, allowing India to advance its hydroelectric plans without procedural delays. All right, for more on this, we're now being joined by Aman Sharma. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me just come to you on this. If you could take us through the major elements of this.
Asim, this is another big move by India against Pakistan after the Indus Water Treaty was put on hold. What we are breaking exclusively is that the centre has given environment clearance to the 260 megawatt Dulhasti hydroelectric project stage 2. This proposed project is an extension of the existing 390 megawatt operational Dulhasti stage 1 hydroelectric project. But this new project will also be built on the Chenab River in the Kishtwar district. The cost is nearly rupees 3,300 crore. But India is now building another major project on the Chenab, which was earlier not allowed under the Indus Water Treaty. In fact, while giving its nod to the Dulhasti project stage 2, the Environment Panel has noted that the water of the Chenab Basin is shared between India and Pakistan in accordance with the provisions of the Indus Water Treaty, but the Indus Water Treaty stands suspended effective from 23rd April 2025, and that is why India is going ahead to build this new project. India is already building the 540 megawatt Kwar Dam on the Chenab River in Kishtwar. Kwar is a project which is on the major milestone, was achieved earlier this year by the diversion of the river Chenab in January 2024. Then there is the 1000 megawatt Pakal-Dul hydroelectric project, which is the biggest and the most crucial in the region, as it will be the first storage project on the western rivers that flow to Pakistan. It will have the capacity to hold water. And Pakal-Dul will be the highest dam in India at 167 meters. Pakistan has been objecting to this project also, calling it a violation of the Indus Water Treaty, as the dam will come up on one of the tributaries of the Chenab River. But with the suspension now of the Indus Water Treaty by India post-Operation Sindoor, it has been fast-tracked. This particular project also fast-tracked for completion by 2027. Another major project which has been put on the fast-track, the Kiru hydroelectric project, is also on the fast-track. That is the other big bother for the Pakistan, is the 850 megawatt Rattle hydroelectric project in Jammu and Kashmir, especially since last year when a major milestone was achieved by the diversion of the Chenab River through diversion tunnels in the Kishtwar district. So the Chenab River Basin already has 3 operational projects: the Dulhasti 1 project, the Banglihar at Ramban project, and the Salai project at Riyasi. But apart from these, now other projects are under construction on the Chenab, including the Ratel, including the Kiru, the Kwar projects, and India is also planning to link the waters of the Indus and the Chenab with the Bias and build a 160-kilometer long tunnel to take the water to the India's heartland till Ganga Sagar. India is also planning to construct the 1856 megawatt Sawalkot hydroelectric project in Ramban district of Chenab's river. So this is staying true, I think, to the Prime Minister's words. You know, when he said that India's water will flow for India's rights, will be stored for India's rights, and will serve only India's rights. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had given that clarion call that blood and water cannot flow together. So 4 to 5 major hydroelectric projects now being fast-tracked by the government, as I have just listed out. And here on the map, we will be able to see soon what are these projects and why these projects are so crucial for our country, and to, I would say, throttle Pakistan and stop the flow of supply of the water to Pakistan. Here are now the projects. If we look them on our map, this is the Chenab River, which goes to Pakistan, and you can see in the red there is the Pakistan. That is the Chenab River. Already the projects we are on construction on the Chenab River. Number 1, the Pakal-Dul project, the highest river dam project in India, will be the Pakal-Dul project. It will be the first storage project on the river Chenab, because so far all the projects which used to come up on the hydroelectric project which came up on these rivers going to Pakistan were run-of-the-river projects. We could not store the water. We could only control the water. But the Pakul-Dul project will be the first project in which we'll be able to store the water. And look at the number of projects now coming up. The Quar hydroelectric project, I was just speaking about, is an under construction project. Then the Dulhasti Stage 2 project. This will be the new project that we are reporting has got clearance. Look at its location. Right on the Chenab River, before the river goes into Pakistan, the Dulhasti Stage 2 project along with the existing Dulhasti Stage 1 project, these two projects together will be able to control the flow of the Chenab River, and this will be a big, big worry for Pakistan now, because all these four projects, the Dulhasti Stage 1 project, the Stage 2 project, the Quar hydroelectric project and the Pakul Dul project, all these four projects, Pakistan has been stoutly objecting against on all international forums, saying that the Chenab River is meant for the consumption of water by Pakistan. It's the right is of Pakistan, while India can only build projects, use it for water in their area, and cannot store the water. Now India is effectively using these four projects to control the flow of River Chenab into Pakistan, and Dulhasti Stage 2 project, which has now been approved by the Environment Ministry, is going to be a very, very crucial project in this regard. The government is aiming for completion by 2030. The Pakul Dul project is expected to come up by 2027. The Quar project is expected to come up by 2028. And as I said, Dulhasti Stage 1 project is already under construction and commissioned, in fact. And here is the document that I am reporting, which is the exclusive document that we are showing, that how on 19th December, the government, the Environment Ministry has given clearance to the Dulhasti Stage 2 hydroelectric project. You can see the file number 2. This is the agenda of that meeting, which was held on the 19th. Proposal number 2, which was the project name Dulhasti Stage 2 hydroelectric project, State of Jammu and Kashmir. A fresh environment clearance was sought for this project by the authority, the Chenab River Authority, as well as the NHPC, and it has now been cleared by the government. And the government has been able to clear it because the Indus Water Treaty is in abeyance. And that is why the government has been able to clear this project. Within the next 4 to 5 years, we will see now these number of projects coming up on the Chenab River. Before the Chenab River goes into Pakistan, this will effectively be controlling a lot of water. The water flow can be regulated now. The water can be stored at the Pakul Dul project with the storage project, first storage project in that regard. So all of this together will be a major, major blow to Pakistan, because all these projects will be generating also a lot of electricity for Jammu and Kashmir. But their strategic use, I think it will be much, much higher, because India is trying to tighten the noose around Pakistan when it comes to their lifeline of water. Back to you, Hem.
All right, Aman, thank you so much for giving us a complete lowdown of this new development that we're seeing. Also joining me on the show right now, Ambassador Anil Trigunyat, former diplomat. Thank you, sir, so much for joining us on the broadcast on CNN News 18. Let me just ask you, what in your assessment is going to be the impact of this new development, the Dulhasti 2 project, which has gotten clearance right now? How do you assess the impact of this?
Well, as you know, that the Indus Water Treaty of 1960 was very magnanimous for Pakistan. And every time that we made a proposal to build a dam, or for that matter, any power station, we have had problems with Pakistan. They continued to drag along. But as Prime Minister said that the blood and water cannot flow, India, in the wake of the Pahalgam terror attacks, decided to put the 1960 treaty into abeyance. So since the Indus Water Treaty that provided the western rivers water flow to Pakistan, India started doing what was permissible in the beginning. That was essentially use the water for irrigation, for drinking water, for power generation. And that's precisely what is being done. Now, what impact it will have to be seen. But we require, because the material circumstances have changed, and therefore India has decided to go ahead with various projects. As you know, already on the Chenab, we had about 1980 megawatt 3 projects that have been working, of which the Baglihar project and others we are seeing now, which are going to be expanded further, second stage, third stage, new projects. So we require electricity for our growth, and that's what precisely India is doing in a very strategic manner. And we'll have to see how it goes on, but energy is our absolute requirement, and there is not going to be any compromise. I'm happy that the government has decided to expedite these projects going forward. So I think that this is in our own national interest, and we'll continue to do so. especially when the other side continues to take recourse to terrorism as an instrument of their foreign policy against India. We are well within our rights to do what is good for us.
Absolutely, Ambassador. Now, as you mentioned rightly, India did place the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance in light of the Pahalgam terror attack. We are going to, however, see further hue and cry by Pakistan on this, aren't we?
Well, let this be. I mean, people will keep on crying and talking about it, but India will have to do what is necessary for it. And we have been, as I said, if you go to the history of it, I think we provided them huge amount of money even in 1960 for developing things. We have been very, even this time, I must say, when the flooding was done, flooding was there, then India had informed the Pakistanis beforehand that there could be flooding in their part of the area. So this is, we have still been very decent. But there has been no change in the behavior of Pakistanis. So they may make you and cry, but India will have to continue to do what is good for it.
Right, let's talk about India. As you mentioned, of course, India is prioritizing its own energy needs as well. In light of that, how do you assess the impact of these accelerated projects in India?
Well, as you know that how much, I mean, we require, if we have to grow at the rate of 7 to 8%, we require tremendous amount of energy, cheap energy, and hydro energy is also very important. And especially in the Jammu Kashmir area, which is also going through a developmental phase in a very different way. And so it will be very, very important from our perspective, essentially, to add to our own requirements of the electricity as we are going to go ahead with 500 gigawatt and all that renewable energy. Other projects are there, and hydro does contribute a great deal to that, to our objectives. And India also is going to pursue its own climate change objectives. So I think it will be very helpful in that, apart from being a strategic move, a move that communicates a message to Pakistan. And they're holding the treaty, which was called as a diplomatic strike, will be, in my view, will be seen in action. Because until recently, we have been very decent. We continue to talk to Pakistanis, trying to ask them that allow us to build those dams or use any water somehow. We have been very, very decent throughout. But the decency has not paid it. It has only been paid in the coin of terrorism from Pakistan. So we have to look after ourselves rather being magnanimous to an enemy.
Right, Ambassador, that being said, of course, there are going to be serious concerns when it comes to regional stability, especially when Pakistan is part of this equation either. How do you assess that going forward?
There will definitely be some repercussions, and there will be hue and cry, and there might be going to the commission or Indus Water Commission or somewhere else, which they feel like. But India is on the firm grounds. I mean, this is run of the river projects are allowed, irrespective. I mean, they are part of the treaty itself. So to that extent, it very much complies with the treaty obligations. On the other hand, they might say the storage has increased, but then this is the normal thing as far as the hydropower projects are concerned. So dams are an obvious part of it. So there is not something that we are violating the basic essence of the treaty, but what we are doing now is trying to look after our own interest in that sense.
All right, Ambassador, we're also being joined by Sant Kumar Sharma, author of Indus Water Treaty, who better to talk to about the implications of this than you, sir. Mr. Sharma, thank you so much for joining me on the broadcast this morning. Let me just come to you, if you could just, for the benefit of our viewers, give us a lowdown of what your assessment is here.
Pakistan has been way too harsh with us and trying to promote terrorism all the time. And in return, we were too generous with them. And in 1960, when we signed the treaty with them, Nehruji said on 30th November 1960 in Parliament that we have bought peace. We have purchased peace, if you like. And they were given 80% of water and we were content with only 20%. But apparently, the peace has not been bought. Whatever expectations were there that Pakistan will behave once we are generous with them have gone wrong. They have gone wrong entirely. And what they do is actually, if we see the division between the two countries, we get only 32.7 million acre feet of water. They get 135.6 million acre feet. And the entire wastage on their end is 66 million acre feet, which is twice our share. Of this, 30 million acre feet goes beyond Kotri, and 36 million acre feet they waste because of their uh, inefficiencies and irrigation thefts and all those things. And then they cry that we are being harsh with them and we are doing something to them. We are not doing anything to them. They have been utterly inefficient, and that is what they are paying for.
Right, Mr. Sharma, of course, as you know, the acceleration of these projects, it is going to be a chokehold on Pakistan. If you could just tell us what the practical implications of this are going to be on ground.
Practical implications actually we saw in the May itself, money 5 6 months ago, and this was that under the Indus Water Treaty, there were some restraints on us in terms of sediment clearing, and that is why we had sacrificed the efficiency of Salal project in 1978, as early as 1978. But Pakistan tried to create more problems for us. So what we are doing is now we are not telling them when we go to sediment, do the flushing of sediment, and that is why we had one particular occasion when the Chenab bed at Akhlur had dried up and there was a flood. That is why. So the difference is the extra storage will be created in some of the dams, the existing dams, and new dams will take years to come up. So initially they may have some problems in terms of not getting any data at all. They are not getting any data. And from our side, the entire data that was given to them was from at least 280 points, 190 from the western rivers and
Right,
90 from the eastern rivers. We are not sharing that data.
right,
So they are facing many problems in organizing their irrigation schedules and all that. So
right.
they are facing problems, but that is they are doing.
Right. All right. Mr. Sharma and Ambassador, thank you so much for joining me on the broadcast with your perspective and insights on this. Thank you so much. Now, let's shift our focus now. The first Congress Working Committee meeting post the Bihar loss. We're given to understand Sonia Gandhi, Mallikarjun Kharge and Rahul Gandhi chaired this meet, and Siddaramaiah was also present in this meeting. This was the first CWC meeting. Now, we are given to understand that the top leadership were present at this meeting as well as Siddaramaiah. This comes after the Bihar loss, and this is the first CWC meeting post that Bihar loss that we're talking about. The Congress top brass met for this particular meeting today. As you can see, these are the visuals that we're getting right now. The Karnataka Chief Minister also present in that meeting. We're given to understand that the Congress Working Committee meeting is underway right now. For more on this, we have Pallavi live with us. Pallavi, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. What are we expecting here?
See, the Congress Working Committee meeting is essentially to draw the strategy about a nationwide protest about the G Ramji bill. I mean, that is something which is very close to Sonia Gandhi. She was considered to be the architect of the bill, and we saw how vociferously they spoke about it on the floor of the House. Usually, the Congress Working Committee meetings are held to discuss the top political agenda. So there are lots of agendas which they want to decide on, how to take their strategy ahead, how to corner the government and hold it accountable. Many developments have taken place. One, of course, we know about the Aravali issue. The second is of the Sengher issue. The third, of course, is what we're talking about, the G Ramji bill. And, there are larger issues about how the institutions are being misused. So, what we are being told is that this is what is there on the platter. There will be a press conference later today where the Congress is coming out with some kind of a plan. How do they plan to carry out their protests? But for now, this is what the meeting is there, where you can see all the top leaders of the Congress party attending it.
All right. Pallavi, thank you so much for joining us with all those details. Of course, we'll continue to bring you all developments on that front as well. With that, we're going to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. News and updates will continue on the other side.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Rahul Gandhi alleges that BJP and RSS are conspiring to undermine education and academic institutions in the country. He emphasized that education needs freedom and institutions should be guided by knowledge and science and not by ideology. Rahul Gandhi shared these views on Facebook after meeting students from Indian Statistical Institute who echoed concerns raised by the students. Now, that is a major remark that is made by Rahul Gandhi, that is coming in from Rahul Gandhi, that he has said that institutions should be guided by knowledge and science and not by ideology. He has directly attacked the BJP and the RSS, and he has said that institutions should be guided by knowledge and science and not ideology. Now, Rahul Gandhi shared these views on Facebook after meeting students from Indian Statistical Institute who echoed concerns raised by the students. And we are joined by Pallavi Ghosh on this broadcast. Pallavi, what do you make of these remarks by Rahul Gandhi?
See, Harsh, Rahul Gandhi's common refrain has been that how most of the institutions have been weaponized. They have been completely brainwashed as far as the RSS mentality is concerned. And institutions are supposed to be non-partisan. They are not supposed.
Now, amid the suspension of the Indus Water Treaty, India has fast-tracked several major hydro projects on the Chenab River. The Union Environment Ministry's expert panel cleared the Dulhasti Stage 2 project in Jammu and Kashmir's Kishtwar, an extension of the operational Dulhasti 1, developed by NHPC Limited at an estimated cost of 3,277 crore rupees. The project will use the existing dam, reservoir and power intake of Dulhasti 1 while drawing water from the Marusada River via the Pakaldul project. The panel noted that while Chenab waters are shared with Pakistan, the Indus Water Treaty has been suspended since April 23, 2025, allowing India to advance its hydroelectric plans without procedural delays. All right, for more on this, welcome back to CNN News 18. Thank you so much for staying with us. Here's the latest that we're getting for you right now. CNN News 18 exclusive. We're going to understand in North Waziristan, terrorists, most likely from the TTP group, have abducted the SHO of the Takhel police station. According to police, the SHO of the police station, Muhammad Sadiqullah, was abducted by terrorists when he was en route to Imran Shah. Locals have initiated negotiations with the terrorists, were given to understand, for the recovery of the abducted SHO. This is the latest that we're getting right now. Siddhant Mishra joining us for more on this. Siddhant, what can you tell us? We're given to understand that here terrorists belonging to Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan have abducted the station house officer in Pakistan's North Waziristan.
Well, that's right. So this input has been brought to us by Securities Editor Manoj Gupta. Now in North Waziristan, militants TTP group have abducted the SHO of the Takhel police station. According to police, the SHO of the Takhel police station, Muhammad Sadiqullah, was abducted by militants when he was en route to Miran Shah. According to police, local elders have initiated negotiations with the terrorists for the recovery of the abducted SHO. Security officials says that the incident happened on the Takhel Miran Shah Road. This is an area with a long history of militant activity and limited state threat. Following the abduction, security has been tightened across North Waziristan with checkpoints placed on key routes.
All right, Siddhant, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on that. All right, and as we step into the festive season, a time of warmth, cheer and the joy of giving, Reliance Foundation founder and chairperson Neeta Ambani has inaugurated a new cancer and dialysis center, Jeevan, dedicated to her late father. Jeevan stands as a tribute to the values that he embodied: kindness, empathy, service and respect for every life. At the heart of Jeevan is a thoughtfully designed pediatric chemotherapy ward created with the belief that every child deserves healing, wrapped in warmth, comfort and compassion. We're going to leave you with these visuals. Thank you so much for joining us.
Namaskar. 10 years ago, we began with a vision to make world-class healthcare affordable and accessible to every Indian. Over the last decade, our Reliance Foundation Hospital has served 3.3 million patients including 1.6 million children. And now we are opening Jeevan, a very special new wing of our hospital. Jeevan is my dedication as a daughter to my father, Sri Ravindra Bhai Dalal. Papa taught me that seva is the highest form of worship. Here at Jeevan, we bring together advanced chemotherapy, immunotherapy, dialysis, and other specialized medical services under one roof. The most precious part of Jeevan, a space very close to my heart, where I am standing right now, is our pediatric chemotherapy ward. Every mother, every father who walks through these doors carries a weight no parent should ever have to bear. And every child who goes through this treatment is a brave little warrior. हमारा यही संकल्प है कि जो भी जीवन में आए, खास करके छोटे बच्चे, वो अच्छी सेहत और उज्जवल भविष्य की उम्मीद के साथ यहाँ से अपने घर जाए. धन्यवाद.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Now, amid the suspension of the Indus Water Treaty, India has fast-tracked several major hydro projects on the Chenab River. The Union Environment Ministry's expert panel cleared the Dulhasti Stage 2 project in Jammu and Kashmir's Kishtwar, an extension of the operational Dulhasti 1, developed by NHPC Limited at an estimated cost of 3,277 crore rupees. The project will use the existing dam, reservoir and power intake of Dulhasti 1 while drawing water from the Marusada River via the Pakal Dul project. The panel noted that while Chenab waters are shared with Pakistan, the Indus Water Treaty has been suspended since April 23, 2025, allowing India to advance its hydroelectric plans without procedural delays. All right, for more on this, we're now being joined by Aman Sharma. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me just come to you on this. If you could take us through the major elements of this.
Asim, this is another big move by India against Pakistan after the Indus Water Treaty was put on hold. What we are breaking exclusively is that the centre has given environment clearance to the 260 megawatt Dulhasti hydroelectric project stage 2. This proposed project is an extension of the existing 390 megawatt operational Dulhasti stage 1 hydroelectric project. But this new project will also be built on the Chenab River in the Kishtwar district. The cost is nearly rupees 3,300 crore. But India is now building another major project on the Chenab, which was earlier not allowed under the Indus Water Treaty. In fact, while giving its nod to the Dulhasti project stage 2, the Environment Panel has noted that the water of the Chenab Basin is shared between India and Pakistan in accordance with the provisions of the Indus Water Treaty, but the Indus Water Treaty stands suspended effective from 23rd April 2025, and that is why India is going ahead to build this new project. India is already building the 540 megawatt Kwar Dam on the Chenab River in Kishtwar. Kwar is a project which is on the major milestone, was achieved earlier this year by the diversion of the river Chenab in January 2024. Then there is the 1000 megawatt Pakal Dul hydroelectric project, which is the biggest and the most crucial in the region, as it will be the first storage project on the western rivers that flow to Pakistan. It will have the capacity to hold water. And Pakal Dul will be the highest dam in India at 167 meters. Pakistan has been objecting to this project also, calling it a violation of the Indus Water Treaty, as the dam will come up on one of the tributaries of the Chenab River. But with the suspension now of the Indus Water Treaty by India post Operation Sindoor, it has been fast-tracked. This particular project also fast-tracked for completion by 2027. Another major project which has been put on the fast track, the Kiru hydroelectric project, is also on the fast track. That is the other big bother for the Pakistan, is the 850 megawatt Rattle hydroelectric project.
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to yet another special edition of Take 3, because we are 4 of us here on the table, viewers. So, and it's now going to be perhaps a more regular occurrence that we will get experts from the outside, along with, of course, minds from within, to try and talk about issues. And we are coming to the end of 2025. We're looking ahead to 2026. This has been a year of reforms, year of resilience, year of resurgence at multiple ways. And the key focal factor around all of this is Prime Minister Narendra Modi. I'd just like to set the pretext as I say Namaste, Jai Hind and Vande Mataram to everybody. Rahul Shivshankar, who's now wearing a very different hat from over the last 2 years. So congratulations on that once again. So editorial director at CNN News 18, Nalin Mehta, managing editor Money Control, and Gautam Chikarmane, who's currently saying I'm very nervous, but he's looking the best rested and most well turned out of all of us. But the whole story is, at a time when the NDA was looking the weakest, they seem to have pushed through some of the most big bang reforms in terms of laws and legislations, and also in a year that's been challenging. Operation Sindoor tested resolve. On the other hand, Trump's tariffs have also tested resilience. Now, how would you see this entire year, and how would you look ahead to it? Let's start with the guest, Rahul, and then come back, circle back to us. So, Nalin, set the context, and then Gautam.
So, I would argue that post-Sindoor, we had something analogous loosely to a 1991 kind of moment. And that was the challenge the Prime Minister faced. 1991 was a big economic crisis. We didn't have an economic crisis this time. But the challenge was that, there was a real need to reform in the face of various kinds of external pressures, right? So you saw the Prime Minister responding with the clarion call for Swadeshi on the Independence Day speech. You saw the GST reforms. Before that, you saw income tax reforms. And you are seeing a slew of reform now across two categories, largely broadly in the ease of doing business space, both through legislative action and through policy actions. And you're seeing a lot of movements on manufacturing. Now, I think one of the reasons why I do have to say, Sindoor, the diplomatic challenges after Sindoor, it forced India to give us an impetus for reform in a way that the economic crisis of 1991 gave us an impetus for reform. So you're seeing things of a certain kind. So, for example, in the GST reforms were supposed to lead to a much larger consumption, putting more money in people's pockets. We've seen the green shoots of that in the Diwali season. Next year, we'll have to see how sustainable that is. The second is on insurance. You've seen big reforms, 100% FDI, life insurance, players being allowed to get into different sectors and so on and so forth. You've seen financial sector reforms, which have led to a lot of new investments coming in. And there's a slew of investments that have come in. I think there is a lot of FDI, big ticket investment that are happening, even though financial portfolio investors, foreign portfolio investors are sort of moving out of the stock markets, but the resilience of the domestic investor has really held up the markets in a way that they would have collapsed if, with the current kind of trend of FPIs moving out of the stock markets, the domestic investor is what has been the saving grace. But in the last quarter of this year, you've seen big ticket FDI investments coming in, especially from Japanese companies. That shows you something is changing. The labor sector reforms, those are always difficult to do. We have seen intent on those. You are seeing a lot of reforms in defense. We are now seeing, I think, the beginning of a military-industrial complex in this country, of the kind that we saw with Eisenhower after the Second World War, with a lot of private sector coming in into defense manufacturing in a way that has never happened